WADR, promoting dialogue.
It's 6 p.m. in Dakar, 7 o'clock in Abuja. Good evening and welcome to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and around the world on WADR.org. Here are the top stories. Gambia's National Assembly forms committee to investigate former President Jammeh's assets.
Actually, what we intend to look at is there was a Jammeh Commission established in the Gambia in 2018 to look into the financial assets of the former president.
Tensions rise in Guinea as former ruling RPG Secretary General Sekou Konde arrested in Conakry. Benin's anti-corruption court launches probe into alleged bribery linked to El Liberal Party leader. And Liberia's House of Representatives summons government ministers over Burkinabe influx amid security concern. Details of these stories and more coming up shortly.
West Africa Democracy Radio. It's you speaking.
Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Sankule Janko. Newslink begins in the Gambia as lawmakers on Thursday have set up a special select committee to look into the sale and disposal of assets seized from former President Yahya Jammeh. These assets were initially flagged by the Jammeh Commission, a body set up to probe the financial dealings of public institutions under Jammeh's rule. The commission work led to the forfeiture of numerous properties and businesses to the state. But since then, there have been growing concern over how those assets were sold and whether proper legal procedures were followed during the disposal process. The National Assembly's new committee has been tasked with uncovering facts and restoring public confidence in how state resources are managed post-Jammeh era. We now hear from the chairperson of the special committee, Select Committee, Abdullah Sise, who explains the goals and scope of the critical investigation.
Actually, what we intend to look at is there was a Jammeh Commission established in the Gambia in 2018 to look into the financial assets of the former president and his close associates. So later when the report from the Republic came out, there were irregularities mentioned in the report. And now this has sparked a lot of noise in the country. Of course, this committee wants to go after that report. We are not going outside the report of the Jammeh Commission, but we will have to go through the mandate and scope of the Jammeh Commission and look at those irregularities and, map out facts and recommend them for actions. That is exactly what we are doing.
What are the expected results in relation to what the president has promised?
Yeah, well, actually, in terms of what is going to be done, of course, from our part, what we will do is we will have to look at all the things that have been mentioned in the report. What were the things that have not been done properly? In fact, even if they have been done, are they done in the right way? We want to look at all that. The recommendation now, is going to be an actionable recommendation for the president and, of course, even for National Assembly to take some actions. This is what we are going to do. But exactly, we wouldn't know what is going to be the recommendation for now unless and until we start the entire process. Perhaps we will start finding out certain things that people are thinking about. And those things will come out and then, actions will be taken for sure.
What is the duration of this investigation? When are you expected to complete your investigation and then, make your recommendation and hand over the results to the necessary authorities, Parliament included, and then the executive as well, the president?
The Parliament approved for 120 days, but optimistic that we can do it within that stipulated time. If we can finish it before 100 days, we will be able to do it and report back to Parliament.
Abdullah Sise is the new chairperson of the Gambia's National Assembly Select Committee for a probe into former President Jammeh's assets. Still in the Gambia, the Navy on Thursday intercepted over 100 irregular migrants, including 2 minors on board, suspected of transporting them to Mauritania. The boat was escorted to the naval base in Banjul, where the migrants were processed and subsequently handed over to the Gambia Immigration Department. According to the Gambian Navy, the boat had departed from Bunyadu in the Gambia on Monday, May 12, 2025. The migrant had traveled to Nouadhibou in the Republic of Mauritania, but lost at the sea, ended up back to the Gambian waters. Among those detained were 97 men and 17 women who appeared exhausted at the time of their arrest. Medical personnel from the Gambia Armed Forces stationed at the naval base attended to the sick migrants. Lieutenant Commander Fajara Job, the commanding officer of the Naval Command, led the handover proceedings to representatives of the Gambia Immigration Department present on the site. Let's head to some political developments and begin in Guinea, where political tensions are once again on the rise as senior figure from the opposition has been taken into police custody. The Rally of the People of Guinea, the party of former President Alpha Condé, says its permanent secretary, Sekou Condé, was arrested Thursday afternoon in Bossiou, Conakry. According to the party, Condé had been preparing to address supporters at the RPG headquarters when security forces moved in, halting the event and taking him into custody. The RPG claims was planning to criticize the party members who have shown support for Guinea's ruling military. Condé is reportedly being held at the Gbese Central Police Station. The RPG, along with 27 other political parties, was suspended back in March by the National Committee for Development, the military-led transition authority. Suspension initially set for 3 months banned all political activity during that period. Party official Zamodo Common spoke with the reporters and described how they found. Now we still move to Benin, where the prosecutor of Special Court for the Representative for Economic Offences and Terrorism, known as CRIEVD, in Benin have arrested political party leaders and officials at the Ministry of Interior suspected of alleged bribery. Among those arrested are Director of Political Parties and Electoral Affairs and the leader of the political party Lelebrel, Richard Boni Oro. Authorities alleged that sums of money were exchanged to secure official recognition for the party. Both sides admit to cash transactions but with conflict accounts. CRIEVD says the charges, if proven, carry severe prison terms and fines as investigations continue to uncover the full extent of the scandal. Mario Motono is the prosecutor of CRIEVD.
At this stage of the investigation, the evidence gathered suggests that during the administrative process for the recognition of the political party known as the Libera, sums of money were allegedly agreed upon and paid to officials in return for their intervention in the successful completion of the case. According to statements by the Director of Political Parties and Electoral Affairs, a sum of 12 million French flagships was allegedly offered to obtain the official recognition receipt for the CREUR Uro Richard Tubonin party. However, he claims to have actually received only 5 million CFA francs. The facts thus established constitute corruption of public officials. The penalties provided for by the black host are 5 to 10 years imprisonment. The special package near the ocean reaffirms its determination to relentlessly pursue the flow of corruption in our country and encourages all our citizens to denounce these acts and when they are victims or witnesses. Thank you.
Metonu is the prosecutor of CRIEVD. Well, still in Benin, some administrative officials from the newly formed opposition Liberal Party have been suspended due to alleged involvement in illegal insurance of party receipts in exchange for a larger sum of money. This information was confirmed by the Minister of Interior and Public Security on Thursday, and the development comes ahead of the 2026 general elections in Benin. Christopher Atichu reports.
According to the statement by the Minister of Interior and Public Security Al-Hassan Seidu, the file for the creation of the Liberal Party was initially submitted on August 2, 2024. He added that after review, Deficiencies were noted to the party's founders, who subsequently made corrections on October 2024 and January 2025. It was only on April 14 that the final file was submitted with corrections following a general meeting held by the party in Abomey, Calavi. This version was deemed to comply with the provisions of the Charter of Political Parties. On April 28, 2025, the ministry issued a provisional receipt for the final registration of the party. However, the party's registration process was marred by suspicions of corruption, according to Beninese Interior Minister Alhassan Seydou. 2 ministry officials are accused of soliciting and receiving money in exchange for facilitating the process of the file. One of them would come from the Department of Internal Affairs and Religious Affairs, and the other from the Department of Political Parties and Electoral Affairs. In response to these accusations, the Minister of the Interior ordered the arrest and suspension of the accused, as well as the alleged corrupt politician. The Economic and Financial Brigade has since been notified about the case.
A report from Aziz Adam Sule in Cotonou, voiced by Christopher Atichu.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
The International Islamic Trade Finance Corporation, a branch of the Islamic Development Bank Group, has announced $106 million in new financing to support Burkina Faso's cotton production during the upcoming season. The funding, structured under a Muraba agreement, a form of Islamic financing, will be executed in collaboration with the Burkinabe textile fibers company, Sofitex. This initiative forms part of IDV's broader strategy to improve agricultural output while reinforcing economic resilience in the region. Nazim Nodi, the company's chief executive officer, underlined the importance of the cotton production in Burkinabe economy, saying it has remained a priority sector for the government since their partnership began in 2008. Since the start of their collaboration, ITCFC has invested over $3.3 billion in Burkina Faso with a focus on agriculture and energy. We head to Liberia, because the plenary of the House of Representatives in Liberia has voted to invite several ministers and agencies to answer pressing questions regarding the significant influx of Burkinabe nationals into the regions of the country. This action follows alarming reports from various countries, including Nimba, Bon, Maryland, and Grand Jeddah, where local citizens have raised concerns about the presence of these individuals in the forest, largely unnoticed by immigration authorities. Representatives Anthony William, who brought the issue to the comfort, emphasized the potential dangers posed by this situation.
The Burkinabe's presence in the forest, they were first of all inclusion on the forest. The protected species in the forests were also being destroyed by them. They called the Burkinabe's, they were almost in their thousands in Nimaka. Until we got to Plivo, and that's what Burkinabe were like, how? They say, yeah, the guys are living in the forest and they speak French and those want speak English. And then, so what clicked to my mind, retrospecting on the engagement, the war that was fought in this country, almost all of the guys who were trained, I'm a trained soldier from Burkina Faso. So I thought that it was dangerous for our country. And I need to raise it. And I raised it plenary, certain the reasons why we should lay emphasis on the Burkinabe's in the forest. We heard another alarm in Grand County that Burkinabe's were being killed in the forest in Grand County. From another conflict on land, a Burkinabe will also call up in that situation. So it raises an alarm. This time around, they have taken another trend. There's a fellow who conducted a Facebook Live. I think he's from Grand or he's from one of the countries, but he was being very much emphatic that the Burkinabe's that are in the forest in Grand to be specific, were brought in that forest by Blaise Compaoré of Burkina Faso, who escaped from Burkina Faso. He currently resided in Ivory Coast. Blaise Compaoré is the one who is initiating a training base in Grand forest to come and help him to go and remove Ibrahim Traoré, allegedly. So with that form of information, the foreign minister of the Republic of Liberia have been sleepless nights from country to country, asking the various country to help Liberia at the Security Council. Now, Burkina Faso is being one of the countries that we just engaged to help us vote for Liberia on the Security Council. So if these people hear that, look, Liberia is being used, come and infringe on the right of people in Burkina Faso, foreign minister effort will be fruitless. All countries will now want to support it.
Anthony William is a Liberian lawmaker. Well, still in Liberia, we turn our attention to something else because 53,000 senior students are writing the 2025 West African Senior Secondary Certificate Examinations WAS. This regional examination is not just a test, it serves as a gateway to future academic and career opportunities for the youth of Liberia. WDR's Monrovia correspondent Abraham Parker reports.
The regional exams are being conducted across 379 centers nationwide, encompassing 192 public schools and 851 private institutions. From May 15 to June 10, 2025, students will engage in this rigorous assessment, a period marked by both anticipation and determination across different subjects. Dalboto, the WAEC Liberia regional head, has urged the students to approach the exams with faith, reinforcing the importance of believing in their abilities.
Students, I just want to encourage them that they should believe in themselves, they can compete.
At the same time, several students have voiced their confidence in their preparations and are optimistic about their chances of success.
Yeah, I'm very excited this year sitting for the national exam, and this year I have an opportunity. I'm very excited to get the national exam. The national exam has few criteria that leads to level pass. I have so many ideas.
However, the examination period has not been without its challenges. A troubling situation has emerged at Crest Vision Academy in Monrovia, where at least 24 students are unable to participate due to the administration's failure to register them for the exams. This has sparked disappointment among the affected students who feel let down by the institution's oversight.
I'm so much hurt. The anger is too much, so I don't need to go and ask. The city wasn't meet our parents, so I'm going home. Yesterday I was in on campus. My colleagues out there very much angry.
As the examinations progress, the nation holds its breath, hoping for successful outcomes that will show the path toward a better future for Liberia's youth. For Newslink on WADR, Abraham Parker, Monrovia.
You are listening to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Here is a reminder of our top stories. Gambia's National Assembly forms committee to investigate Jammeh's asset sales. Tensions rise in Guinea as former ruling RPG Secretary General Sekou Konde arrested in Conakry. Benin's anti-corruption court launches probe into alleged bribery linked to the Liberal Party leader, and Liberia's House of Representatives summons government ministers over Burkinabe influx amid security concerns. Still ahead in the news, we have guest interview and sport news. Please stay with us.
Fresh and breaking news all the time. Hear it first as the news breaks, only on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Senegalese Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko is expected in Burkina Faso this Friday. This is his first official visit to Ouagadougou as Prime Minister. He is due to meet his Burkinabe counterpart and the Burkinabe head of state, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Discussions will focus on cooperation between the two countries in a number of sectors. Ousmane Sonko will also exchange views with the Senegalese community in Burkina Faso. Augustine Coley reports.
For this two-day official visit to Ouagadougou, Senegalese Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko will be accompanied by Foreign Affairs Minister Yassine Fall, Armed Forces Minister Biram Diop, and Sports Minister Kader Jaini Gueye. The Senegalese head of government will hold talks with his Burkinabe counterpart, Jean-Emmanuel Ouedraogo, and the head of state of Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. A meeting is also scheduled between ministerial delegations from the two countries, followed by a joint press statement. In Ouagadougou, discussions will focus on cooperation between the two countries in various sectors with no further details. The fact that the Senegalese Minister of Foreign Affairs, Defense and Sports are traveling to Ouagadougou suggests that they will be discussing diplomacy, defense and security, including sports. Senegalese diplomacy remains influential around the world, thanks to the country's democratic stability. Senegal will also like to strengthen its defense capabilities as the country remains safe from the threat of terrorism. On the sporting front, Senegal is increasingly hosting major sporting events such as the Africa Basketball League and will be hosting the Youth Olympic Games in 2026.
That was Augustine Coley with that report. And according to the latest updates on that travel, Usman Sango has safely arrived in Burkina Faso, currently having meetings with Burkinabe authorities. We head to Ghana because the Ghana Immigration Service, GSI, has rounded up 2,241 foreign nationals in a large-scale operation targeting undocumented migrants involved in street begging in the capital, Accra. The early morning operation on Friday, May 16, targeted major hotspots in the capital. Among those detained are over 909 adults and 1,332 children, with authorities saying their arrests are part of a broader strategy to address the increasing presence of foreign beggars in the capital, many of whom are believed to be trafficked or part of organized networks. The detainees are currently undergoing medical and security screening at the GSI National Headquarters. Here is Ghana's Assistant Commissioner of Immigration, Michael Asamoah-Atta.
Those that are undocumented are engaged in these begging and other criminal activities. Immediately they go through and to the end of their profiling session, buses are ready to convey them to their various destinations. We are in talks again with some of the embassies of these nationals, and they fully support what we are doing. Some of them, a couple of years back, conducted such exercises on their own. So we have their backing, and if any embassy, for that matter, will want to remove their nationals by air or whatever that means, the service is really ready to support such an effort. But then after they go through all the processes, they will be escorted out of the country by the GIS by road. As we speak, so far we have received from about 4 or 5 zones within the national capital. I believe by the close of the day, the other zones may come on board and the numbers will definitely go up. And then we will get to know the various nationalities to which they belong. So that is what we have for now concerning the scope, what we call special operations that the service has embarked on. It's to be conducted across the country, especially the major cities. So Accra is the launching pad. Definitely within the next 24 hours or so, the other cities will begin to experience this move of removing these undocumented aliens. Yes, so it's not just going to be confined to the national headquarters, but then outside Accra. Yes, I have not received that briefing. Like I said, the process is still ongoing. I'm sure by the course of the day, in the next press statement we release, all these questions will be answered.
Ghana's Assistant Commissioner of Immigration, Michael Asamoah-Atta. Well, in some latest news in Cameroon, the tensions are building between the opposition and the country's electoral body following the announcement of a new agreement involving the United Nations. The opposition, Cameroonian Renaissance Movement, or MRC, says it was blinded by the news of recent agreement between ELECA, the country's electoral commission, and the United Nations. In a sharp worded statement, the MRC claims it only discovered the receipt to exchange for large sums of money. This information was confirmed by the Minister of Interior and Public Security on Thursday. As a reminder, the Liberal Party is a newly formed opposition political party in Benin. This development comes ahead of the 2026 presidential and general elections in Benin. Gafudu Sakpoho is an independent journalist and political analyst in Benin. He provided analysis of the situation.
I don't know if this has been orchestrated to really tarnish the image of the party, but what is happening first, I don't know if they can even have, if eventually the founder finds himself in jail, and some key members also find themselves in some challenges. I don't know who will work on the ground to even get this, the party meet the requirements to even participate in the elections. There might even be some issue of suspension of the party if there has been some evidence that they did not really use the legal way or the proper way to get get the approval. So this might happen, and if they are suspended, I'm not seeing how they can participate in the upcoming elections or even join any other big movement to run for the elections.
How big is the Liberal Party, and how do they influence conversations in the country's political landscape?
I'm not sure they have such a big influence because the biggest parties that are today at the parliament have their own networks. Like I say, he has not given a clear position of himself. He has not really been clear in who he's supporting, if he's into the position or he's with the ruling party.
I want you to bring us up to speed on who owns this particular Liberal Party and what is the current atmosphere, the political atmosphere like at the moment in Benin ahead of the elections next year.
The founder is Richard Bonioru, that's his name. He has been abroad for many years. He just returned like 2 years ago. He has been on the ground really with population, especially in the northern part of the country. He has been opining a lot on what is happening in the country. Ahead of the elections, everything is still like really cold. Nobody is like raising his finger. Nobody is doing anything. And everybody just calm. Honestly, nobody is really trying to show a single interest because they're just afraid that, okay, if they show their candidates, there might be some things done to really prevent them from running. So everybody just waiting until October. It's maybe in October after they submit their candidacy, they submit their documents and they are officially registered as candidates that they can now unveil. Parties will now unveil the only people that can unveil, or the only person that can unveil today is only the president, but the president is not saying anything and nobody can say anything.
Gafudu Sakpoho is an independent journalist and political analyst in Benin. Well, with the latest sports, let's join Augustine Colley to bring us up to date. Good evening, Augustine.
Good evening, Sankule, and good evening, sport lovers. 28 years after their first Total Energies CAF Onatone AFCON Continental Showdown in the final, Morocco and South Africa will meet once again in a repeat of the 1997 final when they clash on Sunday in the CAF Onatone Africa Cup of Nations title decider Egypt. Both teams punched their tickets to the final with greater 1-0 wins in Thursday's semi-finals. South Africa sold off Nigeria thanks to a header from Michael Smith, while Morocco overcame tournament hosts Egypt, courtesy of a composed finish from Jones El Abdullawi. Away from Africa, tensions are running high at the top of world football, and this time it's FIFA versus European football governing body UEFA. The friction flared at the 75th FIFA Congress in Paraguay, which got off to a rocky start after kicking off more than 2 hours behind schedule. The reason is FIFA President Gianni Infantino was late, reportedly just returning from a trip to the Middle East with US President Donald Trump. That delay didn't sit well with UEFA officials. According to The Athletic, UEFA President Alexander Seferin and several European delegates were so frustrated they walked out in protest. The message was clear. UEFA has lost patience, accusing Infantino of misplaced priorities and a growing disregard for protocol, signaling a deepening rift between the two powerful football bodies. And Barcelona have secured their 28th Spanish La Liga title after commanding 2